Hi, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to take a latex string and turn it into an image, sort of like this. Now, this isn't a really good example because it doesn't show exactly what the latex looks like, but you'll be able to notice that if we do all those fancy commands, like if we wanted to put the text, or if we just wanted to do a simple normal expression like 2 plus 2, we will be able to convert those all into images that you can store on your computer. And I'll also show you a little bit on how you could have the image but not download it onto your computer in case you want to do something like a Discord bot where you want to send it as a reply. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is what I already have here, which is install Puppeteer. You notice that I have a basic Node.js project, so if we go into package.json, you'll notice that I added this file to the start command, but I also have installed this dependency. Now this is the latest dependency that exists when I was filming this video, so just install the latest version and it should be all good. Now, once you've got this down, the next step is to actually implement the function itself. Now, in order to generate something like this, we're going to be using HTML because it gives greater flexibility. And you'll notice here that we have a H1. You will be able to customize colors. You see I have a border, and it's going to be working out much better than if it was just plain latex. So in order to do this, I'm going to declare an HTML string. Now this string is going to contain how I want the HTML page to work. In order to do this, we're also going to be taking advantage of the HTML and using it to convert the string into latex. And this is going to be done with the command called MathJax. Luckily, MathJax has the ability to auto format the latex so that it fits under a certain width. So you'll notice here that this specific image is 900 pixels long, so I will be able to specify that within my HTML, and my latex, which is rendered through MathJax, will be able to accommodate and automatically go to the next line, which is a struggle that you'll face with a lot of other latex vendors, like KTeX in this example. So let's use HTML for both of these benefits. The first step that we're going to want to do is declare a normal HTML tag. And this is just really similar to when you're building a normal HTML document. You want your head and you want your body. We're going to come back to the head in a minute, but let's add the stuff that we need in our body. Now this is just a script, so just copy this down from the files that I'll have in my description. And there we go. This contains the commands to take MathJax and display it in HTML. You notice here that we also have an SVG, which means that we're taking the latex string and we're converting it into an SVG because these SVGs are a lot more adaptable to the width. And then you'll notice here that we have line breaks in order to make sure that it fits in the specified width. Now what this is going to do is it's going to take a second to render, which we'll account for later, but it will interpret anything with $2 signs. So if I put $2 signs and I take in the latex string as input, then it's going to generate this as latex. We also wanted to include an H1, so let's just go ahead and add that real quick. The next step is adding it to the head. We just want some very simple styles that you can easily customize yourself. I'm just going to add very basic stuff, including for our body, I'm going to set our height to be max content. This is so that the image wraps around perfectly instead of being the size of your screen. So you'll notice that this is just around 200 pixels instead of, let's say, 2000 pixels. We also want to, let's say, declare the font size so that this isn't that small. I'm going to set my width to be 900 pixels, but you can obviously customize this to whatever you want. I'm setting a border. I'm going to set a mini padding to make it look nice, and I'm going to make the color white because you'll notice here that my image is transparent. Now, this is an option that you'll be able to set later as we progress through the video, but in order to make it appear nice on transparent images, I have it as white. And then I'm just going to do a little H1 styling here. This really does not matter. Okay, once we've got our HTML string down, it's time to use Puppeteer. Puppeteer will take in a website, it'll launch it, and you'll be able to do some basic commands with it. In our case, we're going to be taking a screenshot of the page because we're not able to directly get this SVG from MathJax itself. Well, if you do, it's going to not look the way you want it, so this is the best way to do it. So in order to launch this page, we're going to create a browser. This is kind of like a Google browser, puppeteer.launch. We want to create a page within that browser, so it's going to be browser.newPage, and it's very important that these are async and await because otherwise these are going to be running not concurrently. It's going to be running all at the same time, not step by step, which will ruin the function of the entire process. In order to use Puppeteer, you typically do await page.goto, and then you add an image URL here, or sorry, a Google browser URL. But in our case, we want to add custom HTML. So what we're going to do is we're going to do data text slash HTML, comma, and then put in our HTML. This will allow us to create a custom page with the HTML that we just wrote above. We're going to grab the content on this page by doing await page.$body, and this is just grabbing all the content within the body. And we need to do await page.wait for timeout for 1.5 seconds. This is because MathJax, it does render the latex originally, but at the beginning, it's not line breaked. So we just want to give MathJax 1 or 2 seconds in order to make it line break in order for us to generate our image. I'll show you the effect of this line after we're done programming this. The very last step is to take the screenshot of the page. So we'll say if content is not equal to null, which means it was able to take the create the page successfully, await content.screenshot. I want to name it test.png. This can be whatever you want. And I'm going to set omit background to true. This is what makes the image transparent. If you don't want it to be transparent, set this to false or just delete this in general. In order to run the command, you go to generate latex images or the folder that you have this in. npm run start is what I specified in my package.json. And you notice when I run this command, just give it a second, the image is generated. And this looks just like we wanted it to. You notice here that the font is a little bit different, and this is something you can easily customize by adding a Google font because this is just an HTML page. I'm going to now show you the effect of not adding the time and now adding a really long string. Let's rerun the command. And it does take a little bit of time, which is okay in our case. You'll notice here that it gets cut off. It doesn't look as good. So that is why we need our wait for timeout. All right. So this is the code that you need in order to generate images, but it did promise you that I'll tell you how to just get the image itself. In order to do this, you take your image and you just set it equal to await content.screenshot, but you need to remove the path. And then you can attach this image to your Discord reply or whatever you wanted to use it for. It's also good practice to close the Puppeteer pages by using these two commands, but it's not necessary. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful and it showed you the power of using Puppeteer and MathJax in order to generate your images. And see you in a future video. Bye bye.